What if the spirit left the body, but never left our world? Could it still inhabit the home it used to reside in? Or might it possess a random inanimate object? Would that spirit be hostile or peaceful? Today, we're taking a look into such occurrences, where eyewitness accounts tell us stories of ghosts, hauntings, and the paranormal in this extra spooky edition of Tipplers 2 Cents. What is that behind you? And welcome back to another frightful episode of Tipplers 2 Cents. My name is Chris Walters, and joining me once more is the suave and captivating Sean Knox.
Hey guys, this is Sean Knox, aka Little Toothless, aka Fuck Nasty the Magnificent. You guys ready to have us just straight dump ectoplasm inside you? You ready to get fucking pregnant with the knowledge of the paranormal? Well, hey, you came to the right place.
Hell yeah, that sounds like a good time. Alright guys, thanks for joining us for episode 5. You made it! In case we haven't discussed this with you guys, prior to this episode, we are going to be doing this show in seasons in order to take a small break after each season, so that way we can reflect on the show and kind of see what we can improve on. As of right now, each season will be 20 episodes long until we tell you guys differently. Now then, Sean, you got any updates for everybody?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I'd like to let everyone know that if you want to help support the show, we do have a merch store now with a few shirts available for purchase. Some of them are actually limited edition, so you'll only be able to get them for a limited time. We wanted to do this to help our true fans and supporters stand out from the crowd and give them an opportunity where, in the off chance the show takes off and becomes popular, they'll have a shirt that they can show off to let everyone know they were with us from the very beginning and we didn't know how to fucking use Photoshop yet. So don't miss your chance to be the start of something here with us. Outside of that, we didn't really get any emails or messages on Facebook this week, so no updates on that side, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So look for the shirts at represent.com/store/tipplers2cents, or you can go on facebook.com, and we have the website linked under our website on there.
Cool. Yeah, and actually I got some feedback. And actually it's some feedback that someone was made uncomfortable by how many homosexual jokes we make in our episodes. So I just want to go ahead and clarify a few things real quick. One, we in no way, shape, or form intend to disrespect anybody for their sexuality, race, or religion, or sex, but it does not mean that those topics are out of bounds for us to joke on. We are both of the belief that comedy is subjective and that everything is permitted. So we'll of course do our best to keep within the bounds of respect, like that being no racial slurs, no homophobic jokes, or calling people who believe in God stupid or anything like that. But two, if you're bothered by homosexual jokes, it really just means one of three things. A, you are yourself a homosexual who is way too easily offended, in which case I say to you, lighten the fuck up. B, you're a homophobe and gay jokes make you uncomfortable because you're a bigot, in which case you need to change that shit right quick because the times they are a-changin'.
Jesus Christ.
Or C, you're a closet homosexual who is upset by homosexual jokes because it makes you feel weird. And to that one I say, come on out, fella. It's 2020. Nothing to be afraid of, okay? It's the generation and year of acceptance. But anyway, I hope this helps everyone be in the same kind of headspace here. We're going to keep making homosexual jokes. It's just going to be a thing, okay? If it bothers you that much, nobody's forcing you to listen. But again, I leave you with the advice that you should probably just try to lighten up or figure out why you're bothered by it so bad. Just saying. And if we do, however, end up saying something that is directly disrespectful to someone's race, sexuality, religion, or sex, we will of course own up to it and address it. But as of right now, I see nothing wrong with how we joke, so suck it. Anyway, let's of course share with everyone what we're drinking here today. For this episode, my poison of choice is 8th Street Pale Ale, and I've never had it before, so hopefully it's good. Sean, what about you, brother?
I'm still drinking the Centauri whiskey.
You're milking that bottle.
Oh, I know. I just haven't been able to fucking go grab some new shit. Eventually I will. I work at a convenience store, so eventually I'll probably pick something up. I just don't have the money right now. But yeah, for now, it's a Centauri Japanese whiskey, but I made it fucking half a glass, so hopefully that does something.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and toast, as is our custom here at Tipplers 2 Cents. Today, I'm being not so humble and toasting to myself for getting a new job after a couple of scary months of unemployment, so yay me. But this toast also goes out to all of you who have held up a job or have gotten a new one recently, especially in light of all the COVID-19 nonsense. So, cheers.
Cheers.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, without further delay, let's get right into today's episode. Today we're talking about the spooky boys known as ghosts and all their otherworldly shenanigans. I suggest you listen with the lights off and by yourself so you can get nice and spooked and in the right mood. Anyway, let's talk about ghosts, hauntings, and the paranormal. What is a ghost? A ghost is the spirit of a deceased human or animal that can appear to the living. Most depictions of ghosts tend to be that of a transparent human-like figure or even a small, wispy sphere. If you're like me and your brain still works like a child's, then you see that cheap Halloween costume that looks like a sheet with 3 black circles for eyes and a mouth. You know, like the old Charlie Brown cartoon thing. I don't know why the fuck. I see that every time. Like, I wish I saw something creepier, but...
I see the fucking, remember on did you ever watch Grave Encounters, that movie?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I always imagine the ghost that, like, crawls out of the vent, the giant one that, like, runs down the hallway. Or little girl ghosts.
I do want to talk about that movie, though, later.
Yeah.
But what about poltergeists? What are they exactly? Well, even though one can come across many similarities between a ghost and a poltergeist, there are many differences that set them apart. A ghost-like activity is known as a haunting, while a poltergeist-like activity is termed as a disturbance. First of all, we can see how they differ in their origin. Ghosts are considered to be spirits of the deceased human beings. Human beings. But ghosts are considered to be the spirits of deceased human beings who still refuse to leave the realm of the living. They seem to appear in different forms, like complete bodies, transparent entities, like I was describing, and foggy mists. Poltergeists are considered to be forms of energy which a living person controls unknowingly. While a poltergeist shows its presence by moving or influencing physical objects, a ghost simply makes an appearance. A ghost can be seen, but a poltergeist cannot be. So, you know, they're a little bit different. A lot of people always kind of group them into the same thing. They're kind of the same thing, but a little different. Mm-hmm. Some theories also say that a ghost is a living soul, and a poltergeist is actually just a manifestation of negative energy left by some gruesome death or some sort of tragic event that happened to this particular spirit. It has also been said that the ghosts are passive souls of the dead and poltergeists are aggressive souls of the departed. Ghost sightings actually go way, way back to the 1st century AD, where the great Roman author and statesman Pliny the Younger recorded one of the first notable ghost stories in his letters, which became famous for their vivid account of life during the heyday of the Roman Empire. Pliny reported that the specter of an old man with a long beard, rattling chains, was haunting his house in Athens. The Greek writer Lucian and Pliny's fellow Roman Plautus also wrote memorable ghost stories. Centuries later, in 856 AD, the first poltergeist, a ghost that causes physical disturbances such as loud noises or objects falling or being thrown around, was reported at a farmhouse in Germany. The poltergeist tormented the family living there by throwing stones and starting fires, amongst other, evil and physically harmful things. One of the most frequently frequently, I cannot talk already. I haven't even started drinking. This is going to be a fun one. One of the most frequently reported ghost sightings in England dates back to the 16th century. Anne, and I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right, Boleyn?
Yeah.
The second wife of King Henry the 8th, and mother of Queen Elizabeth I, was executed at the Tower of London in May 1536 after being accused of witchcraft, treason, incest, and adultery. The good old Saturday night in England.
Mm-hmm.
Sightings of Boleyn's ghost have been reported at the tower as well as in various other locations, including her childhood home, Hever Castle, and in Kent. America's own rich tradition of historical ghosts begins with one of the most illustrious founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Beginning in the late 19th century, Franklin's ghost was seen near the library of American Philosophical Society in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Some reports held that the statue of Franklin in front of the society comes to life and dances in the streets. That was like, how fucking funny would that be to see like Benjamin Franklin just fucking breaking
it the fuck down?
I don't think I'd be scared. I'd just be like, that's fucking the craziest shit I've seen. I'd be thinking somebody drugged me. But though many ghost sightings have been reported at the White House in Washington, D.C. over the years, perhaps no political figure has made so frequent an appearance in the afterlife as Abraham Lincoln, the nation's 16th president, who was killed by an assassin's bullet in 1865 of April. Lincoln, formerly a lawyer and a congressman from Illinois, is said to have been seen wandering near the old Springfield Capitol building, as well as his nearby law offices. At the White House, everyone from first ladies to queens to prime ministers have reported seeing the ghost or feeling the presence of Honest Abe, particularly during the administration of Franklin D. Roosevelt, another president who guided the country through a time of great upheaval and war. So now that we know that both the Tower of London and the White House are potentially haunted, what other places that you know are balls to the walls haunted, Sean?
There are a fuck ton. One of them I know is the Hoia Basayu forest in Romania. From the moment a military technician captured a photograph of a UFO hovering the forest in 1968, Hoia Basayu has gained paranormal notoriety around the world, with some believing it to be a portal that causes visitors to disappear. Those who have passed through the forest without being zapped into another realm have reported rashes, nausea, and feelings of anxiety, according to the Independent. Known as the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, the spooky curved trees that populate the forest just add to the eerie atmosphere. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be caught fucking dead there. Another one is Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, PA. I don't fucking know. The castle-like Eastern State Penitentiary took solitary confinement to new levels when it was built in 1829. Prisoners lived alone, exercised alone, and ate alone. When an inmate left his cell, a guard would cover his head with a hood so he couldn't see or be seen. The prisoner had to abandon its solitary system due to overcrowding in 1913, although the forms of punishment did not get any less severe. They even went as far to chaining an inmate's tongue to his wrist, for one example. It was like a chain. They would put him in cuffs, put his hands behind his back, and those chains would extend and basically be like attached to his tongue. I forgot what the actual term is, but basically if he moved even a little bit, it would rip his fucking tongue.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. Before it closed for good in 1970, they were doing that kind of shit. So Jeez. It was pretty fucking recent.
Yeah, it was like in 1970. Damn.
Yeah. The site now welcomes thousands of visitors every year, both for its museum and Halloween celebrations. Nothing better than capitalizing on the pain and suffering of thousands of inmates, like fucking doing tours.
Yeah.
The reported paranormal happenings have included disembodied laughter, shadowy figures, and pacing footsteps. Another one is a badass fucking name, the Forbidden City in Beijing, China.
Yeah, I've heard of this one.
No trip to Beijing is complete without a visit to the Forbidden City, China's former imperial palace that now serves as a museum. But you might not know that the popular tourist destination has quite the reputation among supernatural enthusiasts. During its 600-year tenure as a palace, the complex had its fair share of murders, whether from jealous concubines poisoning one another or executions performed at the emperor's behest. Needless to say, there's been many reports of strange phenomena since the palace opened to the public in the 1940s. The most common story involves a woman dressed in white, as most good stories do, storing the grounds and sobbing. So that's a perfect example of a... I know this is Chinese, but it's a perfect example of like a visual of a yurei, which is a Japanese, name for a ghost. It's kind of that same thing. It's a long black-haired woman, commonly wearing white or some shit. Another one, I fucking love this one, dude. You get ready for this shit. Leap Castle in Coolderry, Ireland, built sometime within the 13th and late 15th century. The Irish castle has seen more gruesome deaths than the Game of Thrones wedding. As legend has it, during a struggle for the power within the O'Connell clan, which had a fondness for poisoning dinner guests, one member plunged his sword into his brother, a priest, as he was holding mass in the castle's chapel. Jeez. The room is now called the Bloody Chapel, and the priest is said to haunt the church at night. The horror doesn't end there, at least not according to the macabre history of outlined on Leap Castle's website. During renovations in the early 1900s, workmen found a secret dungeon in the Bloody Chapel. So many human skeletons, they filled 3 fucking cartloads when they hauled them away.
Jesus.
Yeah, the dungeon was designed so that prisoners fall through the trapdoor, have their lungs punctured by wooden spikes on the ground, and die a slow, horrific death within earshot of the sinister clan members up above. And that's Irish clan, not like KKK clan. And also, this Leap Castle has a history of other ghosts as well. One being the Red Lady, which is a ghost reported to walk the halls holding a dagger. 2 little girls named Charlotte and Emily are reported to run up and down the spiral staircase within the castle. And another one they called the Elemental, or the Elemental Spirit, which is the fucking dopest name on the planet. And essentially, it's kind of how they describe it. It's kind of like the same as a poltergeist, because they were saying that the Elemental was created by the deaths of all those people that they found in that in that hole or whatever the fuck, the oubliette. That's what it's called, the oubliette behind the wall in a chapel where they found all those bodies. So in the oubliette, the bunch of fucking people that died. The negative energy might have made this elemental, and they have weird descriptions of it. A lot of people had said that they actually described them as described the elemental as looking like a sheep or like a goat, like on 2. I don't know. It's a bunch of fucking different weird ones. That just came from the top of my head. So if you want to correct me, then go ahead. You can always message us. But yeah, that one that's my favorite. It's fucking just perfect in my head, scary.
Yeah, I've heard of that one too, and I've heard of that elemental thing. And I think I could be wrong about this too, because I'm trying to remember. But I think there's that one movie that Guillermo del Toro just made not too long ago. It's got like Tom Hiddleston and
yeah.
The ghost one. What the hell is it called?
Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak, yeah. And I think that was kind of inspired, like at least the look of that place and everything. I think that was inspired by Leap Castle. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but
yeah. Another place is the Aokigahara Forest in Japan. This seemingly serene forest at the foot of Mount Fuji has a tormented past, colloquially known as the Suicide Forest. Aokigahara has been the site of 500 reported suicides since the 1950s, reports the BBC. Some blame this trend on the forest association with demons in Japanese mythology, which that being yurei. Mm-hmm. Others point towards large underground deposits of iron, which interfere with compasses and make it easy to get lost. In fact, many hikers will mark their path with tape or string to make it easier to find their way back out again. So that's fucking terrifying. It's an easy-ass forest to get lost in. And also, I heard, this might just be a rumor or, whatever, but I guess there was this book in Japan that actually kind of normalizes suicide that's found within a lot of the people that commit suicide at the. Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but according, and this isn't even really modern necessarily, but like, in history, suicide is kind of normalized. Seppuku or whatever the fuck, Harikari or whatever the fuck.
Harakiri.
Harakiri, thank you. Harakiri.
Harakiri. Hey, everybody, let's go to the suicide forest and kill ourselves.
That was the fucking weirdest goddamn accent.
You have to know Harakiri's.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I mean, culturally, it might be a little bit normalized. I think they're taking really big steps, the Japanese government and stuff, to try to make it not so normalized, because anybody who takes their own life, is obviously dealing with a lot of personal and emotional upheaval. So it's one of those things that they're trying to take care of now, but in their history, of course, and even, like I said, if they're making books about it still, or at least making books about it pretty recently, it's still pretty normal there to commit suicide.
And also, you might remember from recent stuff, that one YouTuber and personal douchebag and human scum and waste of life, Logan Paul, made that very fucking obnoxious video of going there and like filming dead bodies hanging from trees and shit. So you might remember it from that.
Yeah. To be fair to Paul, he did make some fucking mistakes. Honestly, I just don't know why he could be allowed to record there. I mean, granted, probably nobody was watching, and that's why they did it. But, it doesn't take a fucking genius to know to stop recording when you actually find a fucking body.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did apologize, so we're not trying to bring that back out, but he knows he knows it was fucking stupid. Another one.
And another one.
Is probably the fucking scariest one to me, is the catacombs of Paris in France. After a prolonged bout of heavy rains flooded and unearthed the overcrowded Les Innocents the Les Innocents Cemetery, in the spring of 1780, a wave of rotting corpses tumbled into the property next door, according to Smithsonian Mag. This horrifying event started a 12-year project to move bodies from Paris' cemeteries down to the city's former limestone quarries, eventually packing the underground tunnels with some 6 million fucking bodies.
Yikes.
Today, about a mile of the subterranean labyrinth is open to visitors who can take tours of the tunnels and artfully arranged displays of bones. By the way, this is also the setting for one of my favorite fucking movies.
Yeah, I already knew we were gonna bring that up.
I'm not even gonna. I hate that it's one of my favorite movies because so many people don't like it. But it's As Above, So Below. Just because I'm so fucking into alchemy, and they actually do a good job of like setting the story, and setting the story of the Philosopher's Stone and all that shit. It's just so fucking cool, and they do such a good job of it. And it's recorded in one of my favorite ways to record a movie in POV. So
yeah, it's one of the found footage movies, and I will say, out of like the plethora of found footage movies that have come out over the the last few years, it's probably one of the better ones, because most of those are garbage. You don't ever get to see a lot of cool stuff happen in those movies, and this one at least shows you some weird, trippy stuff.
Yeah, it'd have to be like As Above, So Below, Cloverfield, and Quarantine.
Yeah,
are like the best ones for me.
And the good thing about this one too is it's the same reason I like Quarantine. It gives you the claustrophobic feeling.
Oh yeah,
like you're trapped, because a lot of these movies try to do it, and most of the time it just doesn't feel right. Like there's this other. I was actually looking at it today. There's this other found footage film called The Pyramid. Don't watch it; it's horrible. But they're supposed to be trapped in a pyramid, and it's actually filming from different angles outside of the camera that's supposed to be handheld. So I don't even understand how they thought this was a found footage movie. But also, it's just like they're in these big open spaces at times, and like I don't know, that movie was a mess. But this movie does better at doing it, like making you feel like you're actually inside some catacombs.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of those movies that do POV, they realize that it's so fucking hard to record a certain like scene that they had in their heads.
Yeah.
Like, I love this movie by the way. It's District 9. It starts POV, and then like pretty much towards the end of it, you realize that it's just basic CinemaScope.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it until like the movie's already done. You're like, wait, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. It took me a while to realize that movie changed.
They just do a really good job of like editing it to make it look like outside sources are recording it, but it's still like, they gave up. Like they gave up halfway through, I guarantee. But I love that movie. But yeah, needless to say, there is a motherfuck ton of haunted places, and these are just my personal favorites of the bunch. So, of course, this wouldn't be a real paranormal episode without some real ghost stories. Me and Chris will go back and forth with a few of the scariest ones we've got. Chris, you want to go first?
Sure, but not before today's Tipplers Tidbit, boy!
Tipplers Tidbit!
Alcohol at the end of a long stressful day, often soothes the nerves and helps us relax. And it turns out this isn't a bad thing. Nightcaps add a nice punctuation at the end of your evening and may even support cardiovascular health. Sipping, not swigging, on 30 to 60 millimeters of cognac, which is a liquor that contains polyphenols, I don't know.
Yeah.
That act as antioxidants, similar to those in red wine. Antioxidants are substances that may protect your cells against free radicals, which may play a role in heart disease, cancer, and other diseases. While a nightcap portion may not be enough to elicit benefits to your heart, cognac does contain compounds that may be beneficial to your overall health. So basically, some cognac or wine at the end of a day is good for you. How about that? This has been your Tipplers Tidbit.
Woo! But no, honestly, that is pretty fucking cool. I actually don't do nightcaps that often, but I mean, it's always fucking nice to have a nightcap. Just to, have a drink, you sleep a little bit better. My voice is still cracking for some fucking reason. I have a 3-year-old.
That's because you haven't had your nightcaps. That would fix that.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I used to do it every once in a while with a glass of gin, actually. When I'd get home from a stressful day at work, it actually helped me sleep better, so...
Well, when we lived together, usually I'd have a beer, but that's not really a nightcap. Now that I know that it's like, usually cognac or wine, that is kind of cool. I used to do whiskey, which I heard actually had like similar effects. It doesn't have like polyphenols or whatever, but I heard it was like actually good for your liver for a small amounts. It's good for your liver for like cleansing out your system or some shit. That might not be true. I might be stupid. Who gives a shit? Let's get on to our stories, all right?
Yeah, anyway. So this story I'm about to share with you guys is called Doppelganger, and it is told by a Reddit user named QuietVoice4846. So here we go. Late at night, I usually go to the bathroom multiple times, but for the past 4 days, every time I go to leave, I can see myself standing in the mirror from the corner of my eye. It is like the other me is watching me leave the bathroom. It terrifies me to the point where I almost run out without looking directly at the mirror. I never told my husband about it because I didn't want to acknowledge it out loud. Earlier today, I took a nap in our bed while he sat in the chair next to it watching TV. When I woke up, he told me that he had seen me sit up and crawl backward to the edge of the bed and stand up in front of our bedroom door from the corner of his eye. He thought it was weird that I got up like that because I'm in my last month of pregnancy and I can't really move so good without it hurting me. So he tried talking to me. When I didn't answer, he looked at the door to find me not there and still sleeping in bed. I got really creeped out and I finally told him about what I had been seeing in the bathroom. He thought it was creepy as well, but didn't want to talk really about it anymore because he thinks it will give whatever its power is or energy. I have no idea what it wants or why we both saw it.
Fuck that, dude. That's so fucking creepy, bro. Mirrors are like one of the things that bug the shit. I mean, I get bugged by a lot of things. Dark hallways, fucking bathrooms, mirrors. Yeah. But fuck that, bro.
Yeah, I will say that I'm pretty confident when I walk into a dark room and shit like that, but if I walk into a bathroom, the first thing I do is turn on the light before I look at the mirror. I don't know what it is about mirrors, but mirrors are creepy. Because I'm always like, there's that scene in Hereditary too, when he like,
Oh my god,
he's in the classroom and he turns and looks at himself in the reflection and is just sitting there smiling at him. Ugh.
Ugh.
I hate that shit.
Bro, I am by myself right now. Fuck. All right, so, all right, I got I got another story. It's called Haunted Hotels, and it's told by Reddit user Bright Eyes 10. Oh fuck, this one. So, when I was 15, I traveled to Europe with my family. We stayed in Edel, Germany, in a small inn for a few nights. My parents had a double bed on the second floor, and my sisters had the double bedroom next to theirs. And I was lucky enough to have a single room all to myself at the far end of the hall. When we went to check into our rooms, as soon as I entered the hallway our rooms were in, I remember almost feeling as though I walked into a wall of bad energy. I just felt so unnerved and uneasy in that hallway. But I passed it off as an overactive imagination. I slept the first night without any issues, other than waking up a few times. The next morning at breakfast, one of my sisters mentioned feeling really uncomfortable in the hallway, almost as if the air was crushing. It unnerved me even more that I wasn't the only one who felt weirded out, plus she was an adult at the time, so it further cemented in my head that the wing of the hotel was odd. Later that night, I'm sleeping peacefully when at about 2 a.m., I'm woken by something ripping the covers off me and being jerked about 2 feet towards the end of my bed by my ankle. At first, I thought someone had broken into my room because when I had turned towards what had grabbed me, a huge looming black shape was visible in the darkness, like a man was in my room. I frantically flipped the light on, only to have there been nothing there. The window was locked from the inside, and there was no one in the closet or in the bathroom, and my room was also locked from the inside. I stayed up for the rest of the night scared, playing Cooking Mama on my DS. The next morning, we're at breakfast, and my sister mentions that she was up half the night because she thought she saw a person silhouetted against the wall of the room. But when she turned on the light, there was no one there. It was just bizarre and a creepy experience. We checked out that day, so I didn't get to experience anything after that, but it still freaks me out to this day.
That's fucking shadow people.
Dude, oh my god, the thing that bugs me about that is, like, imagine you're coming to visit me, right? Because, we live in separate cities. So imagine you're coming to visit me and you check into a fucking hotel and, you're only supposed to be there for 2 days, and yet the nights that you have to go there alone, you're fucking tormented by something like that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that, bro. It just gives you that sense of unease to even, like, leave your fucking house. Like, these are the kind of stories that make me, like, a little bit agoraphobic, you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, well, I think we got a little time for one more of these stories here. So this one is called Family Reunion, and it is told by Reddit user Big Chala. Alright. One day, when my daughter was 2, we were having a typical Terrible Twos moment. I know about that.
Yeah.
She was throwing a bit of a tantrum for about 5 to 10 minutes, and we couldn't get her under control. At some point, she, rather suddenly, stopped and started staring at the wall. She then started lightly giggling. It was weird. 1 second, she's crying and screaming, and the next she is smiling and happy. Then she starts saying, "Funny lady," over and over. We asked her who she saw, and she pointed to the wall and again said, "The funny lady." When we asked her to describe who she saw, she described my deceased grandmother. I mean, exactly described her. She had never met her, and I don't think she had ever seen a picture. Not that a 2-year-old could remember a picture. I am not much of a believer in the paranormal, but I know for sure that my daughter got a chance to meet my mom, and that makes me happy. When I told this story to my parents, they didn't seem as shocked as I was. When I tried to get a response from them, they looked at me and said, "I guess you don't remember that you met your deceased grandfather when you were 3. The same exact thing happened to you 30 years ago."
Oh my god.
That's creepy, dude, but in kind of like a good way, I
guess. Yeah, a wholesome way. It's just, it's one of those things that, like, I don't need to meet my grandma. Fuck that. Like, who gives a shit? I know my grandma, but, like, like, if she was like, if mom happened to tell us that, like, hey, when you were 4, you described a hobbit with short hair. I don't.
That's our grandma, yeah, right there.
A hobbit with short blonde hair, and she's,
No, so I have my own story on this too, because Kira just did this.
Oh, really?
like a month ago, I think. Yeah, me and her were just laying in bed. We had just woken up, and Crystal was already at work. And I don't remember what we were doing. We were just sitting there watching TV, and the next thing I know, she's over here to my right, and she looks across at the wall, and she's just looking at it, and I'm like, "What are you looking at, baby?" And she goes, "It's mommy. It's a mommy." And I'm like, "What?" So I look over there, I don't see anything, and she just keeps going, "It's mommy." And then I'm kind of like just watching her face, like trying to figure out like what she's talking about. And as I'm looking at her, she like suddenly, like her expression of like happiness just dropped. And then she goes, "It's not mommy." And I looked back to my left like to see what she was looking at because I was terrified.
Bro, what?
But then I looked back at her and she kind of like smiles and then looked away. And I was like, "Kira, what are you talking about?" And she just wouldn't say anything. She wouldn't tell me. And I was like trying to get her to do it again. I kept going, "It's a mommy? It's a mommy?" and pointing over there, and she wouldn't look. So, yeah, it's fucking terrifying, dude.
Dude, what?
Yeah.
No bullshit?
No bullshit, dude. Swear to God.
Oh, no. Dude, if anybody is going to grow up having psychic powers, it's Kira. Like, I guarantee. Because, bro, like, that fucking terrifies me. I don't want to be around my niece anymore.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking creepy, especially that, like, after I, like, asked her what she was talking about, she just, like, kind of smiled and looked away. I was like, what the hell?
I don't know. Like, it's one of those things, like, with kids, because, like, you know, that they have that stupid, what is it? That basically kids and, like, animals have, like, that intuition about ghosts and shit.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, you know, my daughter's done that before, too. Lily has gone... I remember, where the fuck was I? I think it's when we first moved in here. And I was in my room, like, setting the bed or some shit, and she was just staring into the fucking bathroom. And, bro, like, and this one we only had, like, an air mattress and stuff, so she's just staring into the bathroom, and I'm like, "What are you doing, baby?" And she's just kind of, like, looking, not fucking responding to me. And this is, like, she ignores me now, but, like, if I say it, like, 2 times, and she's like, "Oh, I'm Peppa Pig," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And then, yeah, she's just staring in the fucking bathroom. I'm like, "Honey, what are you looking at?" And she's all, and just puts her head down, and then walks away. And, like, someone just fucking scolded her, bro. And then later that night when I went to bed, and she's sleeping in the bed with us, I went to bed, and this is when we had our bed up against the wall that was right next to the bathroom, and the bathroom door was open. I legit couldn't fucking sleep because, like, the way I was facing, I was looking into the bathroom, and if I flipped over, I didn't want to know if something was gonna,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, needless to say, when we actually got our real bed, I put it against the other fucking wall because I don't need to look into that fucking thing. I don't like fucking bathrooms, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if my kid is scared of something, I'm scared of something. But, you know, she still does that shit to that day, you know, like, walks into a dark room, "Oh, there's monsters," and I'm like, "No, there's not."
Yeah.
But, you know, if I go into the room, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm turning the fucking light on right away," because what if she knows?
Well, if you don't like bathrooms, I got a story for you in a little bit here, but I'll tell that later on.
Yeah. Anyway, so now that we got some random, allegedly true stories from Reddit, I think it's time to move on to some of the most popular true stories of our time. And almost all of them had something to do with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Chris, you want to take the lead on this one while I take a sip?
Yeah. So Ed Warren Minnie, sorry. He was born September 7th, 1926, and he actually died August 23rd, 2006. Lorraine Rita Warren, her maiden name was Moran. She was born January 31st, 1927, and passed away pretty recently, April 18th, 2019. But they were both American paranormal investigators, probably the most popular ones that I know of, and authors associated with prominent cases of hauntings. Edward was a self-taught and self-professed demonologist, author, and lecturer. And Lorraine professed to be a clairvoyant and a light trance medium who worked closely with her husband. In 1952, the Warrens founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, abbreviated with the acronym NESPR, which is the oldest ghost hunting group in New England. They authored numerous books about the paranormal and their private investigations into various reports of paranormal activity. They claimed to have investigated over 10,000 cases during their career.
The fuck?
10,000 ghost cases, man. The Warrens were among the first investigators in the controversial Amityville haunting, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
According to the Warrens, the NESPR uses a variety of individuals, including medical doctors, researchers, police officers, nurses, college students, and members of the clergy in its investigations. So they try to do that to, get some credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And which I have heard a couple of cases of them having some credible stories. Some of them had involved like cops and stuff like that. Not to say that cops can't lie. We all fucking know that. But, just supposedly has a little bit of credibility. Yeah. Stories of ghost hauntings popularized by the Warrens.
I got it wrong.
The word where it means they got popular. By the Warrens have been adapted as or have indirectly inspired dozens of films, television series, and documentaries, including 17 films in the Amityville horror series and 7 films in the Conjuring universe. So yeah, if you've watched the Conjuring movies, you know about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mm-hmm.
The Warrens are probably best known for their involvement in the 1975 Amityville horror, in which New York couple... I'm giving up. I'm retiring my voice. The New York couple, George and Kathy Lutz, claimed that their house was haunted by a violent demonic presence so intense that it actually eventually drove them out of their home. The Amityville horror conspiracy authors Stephen and Roxanne Kaplan characterized the case as a hoax. Lorraine Warren told a reporter for the Express Times newspaper that the Amityville horror was not a hoax. The reported haunting was the basis for the 1977 book The Amityville Horror, and later adapted into the 1979 and 2005 films of the same name, while also serving as an inspiration for the film series that followed. The Warrens' version of events is partially adapted and portrayed in the opening sequence of The Conjuring 2 in 2016. According to Benjamin Ratford, the story was refuted by eyewitnesses and investigations and forensics evidence. In 1979, lawyer William Weber stated that he, Jay Anson, and the occupants invented the horror story over many bottles of wine. So Sean, why don't you take a minute so I can drink and get my fucking mouth to work?
Yeah. In 1986, Ed and Lorraine Warren arrived and proclaimed the Snedeker House, a formal funeral home, to be infested with demons. The case was featured in the 1992 book In a Dark Place, The Story of a True Haunting. A TV film that later became part of the Discovery Channel series A Haunting was produced in 2002. The Haunting in Connecticut, a film very loosely based on the Warrens' version of events, and was directed by Peter Cornwell, was released in 2009. Pretty good fucking movie, honestly.
Yeah, I like it.
Horror author Ray Garton, who wrote an account of the alleged haunting of the Snedeker family in Southington, Connecticut, later called into question the veracity of the accounts contained in his book, saying the family involved, which was going through some serious problems like alcoholism and drug addiction, could not keep their stories straight, and I became very frustrated. It's hard writing nonfiction books when all the people involved are telling you different stories. Which, yeah, that makes sense. To paranormal investigator Benjamin Radford, Garton said of Lorraine, "If she told me the sun would come up tomorrow, I'd get a second opinion." Motherfuck, bro, that shade, though.
I mean, this isn't the first time that they've been accused of lying, too, and that's the other thing, as I was going to say, how I was saying that they've gotten some people to, like, kind of give them some sort of, like, clarification on what's going on. They've also been called a liar just as much, if not more, so...
Yeah. So, in 1977, the Warrens investigated claims that a family in the North London suburb of Enfield was haunted by poltergeist activity, with a number of independent observers dismissed the incident as a hoax carried out by the attention-hungry children. The Warrens were convinced that it was a case of demonic possession, of course. The story was the inspiration for The Conjuring, and I think The Conjuring 2, I'm not sure... a lot of the links that I looked at, it says it's kind of mixed, but it's all part of the same universe cinematically, so fuck it. Although critics say the Warrens were involved to a far lesser degree than portrayed in the movie, and in fact had not shown up to the scene uninvited and had been refused admittance into the home. Well, that's sad. Later, according to the Warrens in the year 1968, previously, two roommates claimed that the Raggedy Ann doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. The Warrens took the doll, telling the roommates that it was being manipulated by an inhuman presence, Jesus fucking Christ, and put it on the display of the family's occult museum. The horror films Annabelle Creation are both spin-off or prequel films of The Conjuring and Annabelle Comes Home, a spin-off sequel of The Conjuring, and are both loosely based on the story. So, this universe I fucking hate. I actually liked the first Conjuring movie. I don't like the fact that they try to make it into a universe, because so many of these don't work out.
Yeah.
Same with like the Paranormal Activity universe. The first movie was actually pretty good. I actually liked it up to like the third one, Paranormal Activity. But they just take real stories and warp them so fucking bad to audiences.
Yeah.
And, 9 times out of 10, these stories are already bullshit. I'm not saying that spirits don't exist, because, I have my own stories too. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where I don't understand how they can keep the credibility of this after so many times telling the story and so many times fucking up certain details of it. Like, if you're gonna lie, you better get your goddamn story straight. And most of these, they didn't do. I think that's what they were trying to attempt. Also, capitalizing on it as well, like writing books and shit. So that way, if anybody was like, oh, well, what happened at this time during this story, they'll be like, oh, we'll just look at the book. You know what I mean?
Yep. They don't have to get their facts straight.
Yeah, so Ed and Lorraine's stories are, of course, called out for being bullshit, but that didn't stop them from making dollar bills, y'all. Of course, every single one of these could be stories of their own, but for the sake... could be, episodes of their own, sorry. But for the sake of talking about Ed and Lorraine's paranormal legacy just itself, we have to condense it to the summaries for now. But if you guys ever want us to do an episode on one of these stories or places, fucking let us know. No problem. Because, dude... Leap Castle is so fucking interesting. The Suicide Forest is so interesting. I'd be so down. I don't know about Chris, but I'm fucking down.
Yeah, I do think that we're probably going to touch on the Suicide Forest again for sure, because I like that one, and Leap Castle. But also, just in the future, we might do sequel episodes on subjects that we have more info to tell, that we didn't fit into a previous one. So that might be a thing in the future. It probably won't be within the same season that it came out, but it'll be in like a following season. So like say we talked about UFOs and aliens in this one as episode 1 in season 1, it could end up being in, season 2 or 3 as a different episode.
Yeah, I kind of like the format that we have now, because I like talking about the vagueness of, well, not the vagueness, but the whole premise itself, and then later going into specific incidents, because then we can... it's just one of those things where you can go into it more and more, and it can solidify our opinions. Because honestly, I'm not very spiritual, but I do believe in like ghosts and shit. At least on some like subconscious level, because there's no logically, I don't have any reason to be scared of walking into my bathroom at night, but I just am. So looking into each of these individually, like each location, each story individually, helps solidify my opinion. Or at least lessens my, my level of being scared on certain things, or it makes it fucking worse. So yeah. I would love to go into these more.
Yeah. And this is one of those episodes where I definitely feel like we could have a sequel one on, like ghosts and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that's actually what I wanted to get into too. Is do you have any real ghost stories of your own? Because I know we've been talking about some real ones. I think people would probably be interested to hear if we have any of our own, or at least our opinions on ghosts, if you don't have any of your own ghost stories to tell.
Yeah, I have one. Here's the thing, I don't know 100% if it was a ghost or not. But in my hometown, Globe, Arizona, there's another town or area called Roosevelt, and you go out there. It's Roosevelt Lake, and we went to. It was like me and a couple of my buddies went out there, and it was so fucking dumb because like I wasn't scared. I went out there all the time to drink and all that shit, but I was looking out over the water and this is so cinematic, and I apologize. Like I said, back in the day, I used to do a lot of fucking drugs and shit, so this might not be true, but this is how I remember it. But yeah, so I was looking out over the water on the dock we were on, and me and my friend were bullshitting, and I'm looking out over the water, spacing out, and like in the reflection of in the reflection of the moon from the water, I kind of see like kind of someone walking on the water almost. And it was, and why I say almost is because like it wasn't transparent, but like I felt like I should have seen more details because it was far out, but I would have known if it was a person or not. And like I don't remember doing anything that time, like doing any drugs or anything that time. I think I might have been like drunk or something, maybe. But I remember like staring, and this person was walking on the water and then just stopped in the middle of the reflection and then just sat there for like 5-10 seconds and then sunk down into the water. And then I remember telling everyone like I wanted to fucking leave right then. Like I was like, and not like telling them I was scared. I didn't even tell them what happened. I was just like, hey, I just want to go home. Like I'm really fucking tired, blah blah blah. But like in my head I'm like, I am going to die if I don't fucking leave right now.
Yeah.
But no, like legit, bro. That is like a true story on my account. And like I said, it might just me being being influenced under alcohol and shit. But it stuck with me.
Yeah,
and
it's still creepy.
Yeah, and it's fucking creepy. It was just one of those visuals that I can't get out of my head. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. That's the only like best one that actually no, I have one more. Sorry. Me and my friends were playing with a Ouija board, and by the way, I don't really think that Ouija boards work, but just in this instance, it was kind of weird because we were playing with the Ouija board, all the lights were out, but before we started playing, my friend told me to put her cat in her room because she had a cat. Yeah, she put her cat and her dog. Her cat and her dog are both like assholes to each other, so I put her cat in her room, and her door locked from the outside because they put the fucking thing on the knob on wrong, so it locked from the outside. Locked it, played Ouija, and then her dog, like 20 minutes later, her dog went into the hallway and started like growling, and I was like, what the fuck? And we were all like, hey, what are you growling at? Blah blah blah. Finally, I was like, okay, and I stood up, walked into the hallway, and I'm just looking at it. It's dark as shit, and then I just see the fucking cat walk by, and it didn't phase me at first, but then I was like, wait, guys, I locked the fucking door. How the fuck, bro? Yeah. It scared the shit out of me because like at that point where it's like, okay, bye on the Ouija board, and then just fucking turned on all the lights because we were like, nope. Because I swear up and down, I locked that goddamn door, and we all know cats don't know how to unlock doors.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only other one that's pretty true. And the one reason I say pretty true is because I don't fucking know what happened. But I guaranteed know I locked the fucking door. Or at least closed it all the way and fucking, I don't understand how the cat got out.
Yeah, I remember that too. I was there actually.
Oh yeah, you were, huh?
Yeah. It was like that was that night at Buddha's.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for using her nickname.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
All right. Yeah, I got my own ghost story, and like I said, if you're scared of bathrooms, this one's probably gonna tickle your fancy because it's about a bathroom I had. So I would like to also start off by saying that I do believe in ghosts now, very much so, but back then, like especially around the time that this story happened, I didn't.
Wait, are you gonna mention when you were jacking off?
What?
Yeah, because you're saying there's a story you told me when you were beaten off.
Oh, I mean, kind of. I kind of glazed over that, but
But it was the same apartment, so.
It's like, you'll hear it. No, but it happened when I was in high school. I was living with my dad and my sister in an apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. And I swear to God that room and the bathroom and closet was haunted. But to give you guys kind of the layout, I had taken the master bedroom, and it had its own bathroom connected to it. And within the bathroom was its own walk-in closet. So my bed was pretty much right next to the bathroom door, just to make it easier if I wanted to go piss in the middle of the night. But anyway, the haunting part of it kicked off with the bathroom, namely the toilet. During the night, I would be randomly awoken by the sound of the toilet seat slamming down like fucking hard. It'd just be like, bang!
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that. You were just telling me about... Okay, just go ahead.
I didn't tell you this part. I got a lot to tell you then. But yeah, I'd be woken up by the sound of the toilet seat slamming down like hard as fuck. Like somebody was dropping... Like, this is what it sounded like. Like somebody was dropping a bowl on tile. Like, if you've ever dropped a plate or something, it's kind of like how loud it was.
So it wasn't just it falling down. It was like someone like fucking...
Yeah, it sounded like somebody slamming it. But anyway, this kind of went on for a while. And, of course, I was like, what the fuck? I'm going to like have to check this shit out. So one day I go into the bathroom and I try to test it out because I'm sick of being woken up in the middle of the night by that slamming noise, because being woken up in the middle of the night by a loud ass bang is pretty fucking frightening, especially when you're dead asleep in a pitch black bedroom. Mm-hmm. So I lift the lid and I do everything I can, short of touching the lid, to make it fall. Like I pass my hand back and forth across it, try to make wind, I try blowing at it, everything, and nothing I can do makes it fall. And this lid was fucking heavy. It was heavy as shit, like heavier than most other toilet lids I've ever dealt with. Like, I don't know, it's weird detail, but it's just to give you an idea of how hard it was to make this thing fall. It was heavy ceramic lid.
No, I actually remember that because I was younger at the time, but it was like a fucking one of those like very heavy porcelain lids.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm curious that now I can't make it fall over, so I'm like, I'm gonna have my friends try it. So one day we're all hanging out there, I have them try it, and they can't make it fall down either. So now I'm kind of fucking creeped out. And of course they're all just joking about it and blowing it off, but me, I was taking it a little more seriously because it keeps happening to me every night. So I decide now I'm gonna lock the door to the bathroom at night just to make myself feel a little safer. Get this. Not only would I wake up to the lid banging down at night, but now, in the morning, I'd wake up and find the bathroom door open, but still fucking locked.
Really?
The bathroom door would be open, but still locked. Like...
Wait. So, wait. It wouldn't be unlocked. So the lock on the knob was locked, but it was an open door.
Yeah.
No shit.
It'd be open, but it was still locked.
What the fuck?
And not wide open, just cracked open. Like just a little.
Okay.
So of course that fucking terrified me. But like I said, back then I was a little more skeptical, so I was gonna test this just like I did the lid. And again, like I would close the door, lock it, sit there and wiggle the handle, push it. I even like kicked the bottom of it a little bit to see if I could get it to open. Fucking nothing. Like, just wouldn't open. So, I don't know how this fucking thing was opening by itself. So now, of course, I was just like, dude, fuck this shit. But of course, then nothing really happened for a while. I still had the lid banging down in the middle of the night, door opening by itself while it was locked. And actually, this is funny too. One time, while me and my buddy Zach were hanging out in my room, we're playing video games, and it was like not very long after I just got done telling him about all this stuff. While we're sitting there playing, the door actually popped open by itself while we were playing, and we both just looked at the fucking door, and then we both like looked back at each other, and he just bolts out of the room. And this is like
what a fucking asshole.
This is like 200
he's a big
plus
dude.
Pound dude. So yeah, he's a big dude, and he just bolted out of the room and like jumped over my couch. It was fucking hilarious.
Dude, fuck that. Yeah.
But,
it's so hard giving me that fucking visual.
Yeah.
Zach's such a fucking big dude.
Yeah.
It's like an elephant being scared of a mouse.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking funny, but I mean, we were both
Holy
creeped
fuck.
out at the time.
Oh fuck, dude! I don't even blame him. Fuck that.
Yeah, but anyway, nothing happened for a little bit until one day I was on my phone with that same friend, and this is I still remember this shit too.
Wait, being on the phone, like calling him, or
I was on my phone just looking at it, and we were on call on Skype at the same time.
oh, okay.
So I'm sitting there messing with my phone, and I don't know why, because I remember the battery wasn't dead or anything, but it just randomly turned off, and as it was turning off, this fucking skull flashed on my screen. Like, I shit you fucking not, it was a skull. And it just flashed on it, and it scared me so fucking bad that I literally just took the phone and fucking chucked it across the room. And it, like, hit my wall and everything, like, just almost nearly broke my phone because of how much it fucking scared me. And I still to this day have no fucking idea, like, why I did that. I turned it back on and was looking at it, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, even your dad was saying shit that, like, didn't he say, like, he was hearing sounds or whatever the fuck? I'm not 100%, but I remember he went into the closet or some shit, or he was telling me he went into that closet and, like, the door closed on him or some shit.
I don't know.
Yeah, and he was even fucking saying, like, he was, like, yelling at, you know, whatever the fuck it was. I would have, you know, I'm one of those people, I'm so fucking passive. I'm definitely passively ghost, bro. Like, no fucking way am I gonna be in, like, what? Bring it, motherfucker. Like, no, an ethereal fucking being is probably gonna fuck my shit right up, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not even fucking done with all the creepy stuff that happened there. Because sometime around that same time frame, again, I was jerking off. Yeah. But I was sitting at my computer desk, and I remember feeling a cold breeze pass over my leg. And like I said, I was at my computer desk, and I didn't have a fan blowing or anything. And at the time, I didn't have a super powerful computer, so there was no like big fans pushing air. But yeah, I just felt this cold breeze go across my legs. And like I said, the scary thing is that there was no fan on. And since I was at my computer desk, I was next to my window, which had the blinds next to me. And it wasn't like there was no wind because it was going that direction, but it didn't push the blinds or anything. Mm-hmm. So it was like wind that wasn't forceful enough to push blinds that were right next to me, but it was, you know, cold enough and strong enough to make me feel it and chill my legs. Scary shit like that, but it, of course, was in the middle of the night too.
Wait, did it make your didn't you say it made your like your blinds on the window next to your computer like move or whatever the fuck?
No, that's what I was saying. It didn't make a move, and it's kind of strange that it didn't. Yeah, it didn't make a move.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you were saying like you thought you might have left that window or that door or whatever the fuck open, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like why I would feel a breeze, but nothing. You know, there's no fan or any kind of like air or anything near me, so it was weird. Mm-hmm. But the hands down the worst part about all of this was a dream that I had ended up having one night. And it's hard to describe the dream, but basically, it was just nothing but blackness and like this endless void, but I could like feel myself within it. Like I could feel my body standing in this void. And calling out to me from the darkness was this voice that, like, I can't describe because it's hard to, like, you know, describe voices.
Yeah.
And when I say that it was calling out to me, it was more like it was speaking, like, directly into my head. It was, like, fucking unnerving. Okay. But all it was telling me was that it wanted me to know its name. And it kept repeating it over and over and over again. Ido. That was what it told me its name was. Ido. And I remember it, like, so distinctly to this day. Okay. And I remember as it spoke to me, I just had this, like, wave of dread and, like, fear just fucking grip me. Like, you know, the kind of fear where you, like, just tense up and go cold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, that was the kind of fear I had. I felt so fucking tense that I couldn't breathe. And I woke up, basically, like, nearly gasping for air and, like, covered in cold fucking sweat. But, like, the worst part was I looked down and like I just have this distinct like claw mark down my chest. And like I don't know if I did it while I was sleeping. Like, I was so stressed out from this dream that I, like, scratched myself.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I swear on my life that that's what happened. I woke up from this weird-ass dream with something fucking trying to make me understand its name, and then I wake up and I have a claw mark on my fucking chest. It's creepiest thing. But aside from that, nothing else major really happened aside from like some instances of sleepwalking and like randomly passing out.
I didn't know you sleepwalked.
Yeah, that's the weird thing too, is I used to do it when I was smaller, but it was like it started happening a lot in this place. There was actually a few nights where I'd wake up in the living room on the floor. I don't know why.
No shit.
I would just be on the floor in the living room, wake up and like, where the fuck am I? And then I would have to go get back in bed. I know some of you guys.
That's one of those things that like is unnerving. Like if you do go to a hotel, or if you're like sleeping at a friend's house and you wake up in the middle of the night and you forget that you're at a friend's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like just that, like even if it's your own living room, like I'd probably be fucking like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like when I was little and like say mom fucking moved me from the couch to my bed, and I know I fell asleep on the couch, so I'd like have a panic attack because I woke up in my bed and I don't know how I got there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like just that like sheer panic, like I fuck with. Oh, and I don't fuck with that, but I understand that like 100%. Fuck that.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, like nothing else really happened until the very last day that we were moving out. And I'll remember this forever because it was like when it happened, I don't know. I think at that point I was just so like done with the fucking place that I just couldn't even process it. I was just like, okay, this may as well happen. But on the day that we were moving out, I went back into my room, that in the bathroom / closet one last time to just make sure I didn't miss anything. And almost as if on cue, as I started to walk into the bathroom, I heard this like gurgling sound. It was just like, so I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I look at the fucking sink, and lo and behold, there's black fucking water spewing out of the faucet. Black water, dude.
It wasn't on?
No.
What the fuck?
And not once did we ever have any sort of plumbing issues or anything to do with that sink. Not a single time. So it was like almost as if this place just wanted to try and scare me like one last time.
Yeah, because like I know in apartments they adjust the plumbing, because I've had that happen where like I've turned on my sink and I've gotten those notices or whatever, and you turn on your sink for the first time and there's like dirt and shit in your water, but like and it wasn't even fucking on, bro. Fuck that.
Yeah. And like I said, just the fact that we never had any sort of plumbing issue, we never had anything to do with the sink. And it's just almost way too coincidental for it to have happened on the last fucking day that we were moving out of that place.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, like, and I don't know, if I remember correctly, I just kind of like laughed and walked out because I was just so unfazed by that point because I was so used to everything being fucked up there. But like, yeah, everything I told you, I swear to God, I'm telling you 100% of the truth as I experienced it. I'm not embellishing on any parts or nothing. I'm not adding anything. My story does not change. You can ask me every single time, and it'll be the same.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, I'm just giving testimony on Chris's behalf. He didn't have the childhood I did, so he's straight laced. He was vanilla. He didn't do any drugs or anything. I think he smoked weed in high school. That was it.
Yeah.
So I do 100% believe him on this. Because like with me, it's spotty. You know what I mean? Like I could be like, dude, I saw a fucking demon in your room. It's like, well, you were on meth, so.
Well, and like especially if you knew me in high school, I wasn't religious then. If anything, I was very atheist. And I was not a believer of like the paranormal or aliens or anything like that. Like I didn't believe in shit. I almost didn't believe in anything.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just for all of this to have happened that time. I think. It was kind of crucial to what how I am now. So, not to say like I'm not skeptical now. I very much still am skeptical. I'm just within the bounds of reason. There's some things that just are questionable, and all that stuff. I've tried to put some sort of like logic to, and like you know, like I said, I tested half of this shit. I tested on the lid. I tested the door. The dream can't really be explained.
Mhm.
But the stuff with the blind not moving, even though I felt wind, shit like that. Like, how do I prove any of that? Um, and you know, it's just still all that stuff still freaking. The black fucking water coming out of the sink for the only single time ever that it's ever done that. I don't know.
Um, Actually, as long as we're talking about dreams, I didn't know that was acceptable. Dude, okay, so, and this is this was a recurring dream. I was about 17, 18, and I would have this dream. And by the way, guys, my old room in the last house I lived in, my mom's house, I had it painted all black. So the carpet was black, the walls were black, the ceiling was black, everything was black. All my fucking and Chris knows that he had just painted it actually. So everything was black, and it was mostly due to the fact that I was just like a fucking assy, shitty 16-year-old. But it also helped later whenever I was working at a grocery store and I was working graveyard, so it helped me sleep during the day. But I would have this recurring dream where basically I was laying in my bed and I could feel someone in the corner of the room by the closet. Chris knows where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I felt someone in the corner of the room by a closet. So like basically my dream was waking up, looking at that corner because I knew someone was there. And then like almost as if like a spotlight was shone on him. It was like a man in a tan trench coat.
Oh my god, dude, don't.
It was a man in a
continue, but I'll tell you why this bothers me so much.
It was a man in a tan trench coat. It was not a fedora, but it was like one of the like tan farmer's hats. And by the way, the most unnerving thing, and the thing, basically it's unnerving because I wasn't unnerved at it at the time. It was a gray face with no face. So it was like, imagine like having no facial features and almost like a constant vibrating effect.
Oh man, I really wish you hadn't told me that. Crystal, you're gonna have to stop listening by this point if you're listening. She's gonna fucking lose it.
No shit.
So, I had a dream.
Okay.
And it happened while Crystal was at work. And it was like one of those dreams where everything in real life looks exactly the same as in the dream. So this looked just exactly like the room. I could even see the light from the TV on and everything.
Okay.
And I look up at the doorway and I see a fucking tall man, like the length of, he's as tall as the doorway, almost to where he has to kind of hunch in there.
Okay.
And guess what he fucking looks like? He doesn't have any features. I can't see anything. He's completely black. But he looks like he's wearing a coat, and he looks like he's wearing a hat. And a lot of people will know this kind of figure because it's one that a lot of people see, called the Hat Man. But now that you've seen this fucking guy too, that creeps me the fuck out. Because the dream basically was just me staring at him.
I'm crying.
I was trying to look at what he looked like, and then I was fucking terrified, like gripped with fucking fear. And he started to like come towards me, and that was when I woke up, and I was like so panicked. I was trying to like reach for Crystal or Kira to like both protect and kind of fucking like help me. But I reached for both of them, and they were gone at the time, so I was just like in there by myself after having this fucking dream. And now after you telling me that, like, dude, fuck.
Okay, so the thing about my dreams were he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he didn't really do anything either. He just kind of started to walk at me.
Well, he was sitting like on the floor, like
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, like, you know, like if you're just like, if you're on your feet but you're like, you know what I mean, like if you're on your feet and you're hunched, like Spider-Man on like the edge of a building or something, you know what I mean? So yeah, he was sitting like that. And the last time I wasn't even done. the last time I had a dream about him, or like maybe not the last time but the second to last time, I was like, I finally got like the balls or whatever in my dream. Like I didn't have that paralysis feeling, and I know I wasn't asleep, or like in my dream I knew I was having a dream, but I knew it wasn't sleep paralysis because I've had sleep paralysis before, and fuck that. But
Yeah.
but I knew I wasn't having sleep paralysis. I knew it was a dream, and like a lot of my dreams, I can actively like acknowledge that I'm dreaming, and I can like change it a little bit so I can be at least a little bit more interactive. So I managed to be like, oh, I'm not sure. I can't remember if I said like, "Who are you?" or "What the fuck are you doing here?" or whatever. 'Cause I just know at that point I was so fucking pissed off, and I was like, "What are you doing?" or something like that. And I'm pretty sure I asked, "Who are you?" and he was like, "I'm you, you fucking idiot." And then I just woke up.
Yeah.
I swear to God, dude. And those words echo in my fucking skin and gives me goosebumps every time I think of it.
That's creepy.
So like, and like, it's almost it fucks with my head because the way I think religiously is like, I'm an atheist. So like, if I think about myself, I think I should worship myself. I think I should worship like my ideals and stuff. I don't necessarily worship my body because I'm a sack of shit, but I think I should respect myself as much as I respect other people. I shouldn't put other people ahead of myself. So like in the terms of me thinking, it's almost like it kind of like I woke up and it like resonated almost like I was speaking with like God almost. And it's fucking terrifying because like I've had so many like weird panic attacks and shit about like what if God was evil and stuff like that, and it was just like almost like that Freddy Krueger like you can't get away from this kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And like I'm so like I haven't had a dream like that since, and I had slept in that same room plenty of times, and I'm not even exaggerating on the room. The room really was all black. But and like in physical world, not dream world, it was really all black.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I can even like explain like the level of fear because it's almost like it was almost like necessary fear where like you can't really do anything about it. Like it's kind of like that feeling I imagine like if I knew nuclear bombs were coming. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like that hopeless feeling where you're just like, well, fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's one of those dreams that made me feel so fucking powerless, and it makes me feel even fucking worse thanks to Chris because now I know that he had the same fucking dream. So that's great.
I know. I'm like, fuck. Maybe we're not so crazy.
um, fuck. I don't know. It's one of those things where like I feel like it could have been the Hat Man. But from what all the testimonies I've like read about and shit, the Hat Man is mostly like a black figure.
Yeah. That's why I more closely related it to a Hat Man incident was because he featureless, completely black. I could just tell he was wearing a hat.
No, I could 100% see like the colors. That's why I said like he was in a spotlight because I could see like a tan trench coat. It was a matching hat, but it wasn't. It was like a farmer's hat almost. Not like a straw hat, but it was like I
just
can't
a
even
wide brim hat.
Yeah, a wide brim hat, not a cowboy hat, a wide brim hat, and it was a matching tan hat, and then a gray face with no discernible features, so no eyes, no mouth, no nose. And that's why I don't think it was the Hat Man because I saw more details than what a lot of testimonies say. And I didn't know about the Hat Man previous to listening to a podcast that me and Chris both frequent, which is Time Suck by Dan Cummins. I didn't know about that. And this was when I was like 17, 18. I just barely listened to that podcast like starting like 6 months ago. And that's when I first heard about it. And like I didn't even really make the connection when I heard about it. It was just one of those things where I was I don't know. Because I even remember when I was really little, I had a dream. This was whenever I had sleep paralysis. I woke up and I could see everything in what's it called? Like a thermal vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I woke up and I could see everything in thermal vision, but I couldn't move or speak. And then I woke up, like actually woke up, and I was looking at the same exact thing I was looking at in thermal vision. And it was weird. Like I was like 7 or 8. It's when we lived on that big hill. I'm not going to say details or anything just for the sake
Yeah.
of privacy, but it was when we lived on that big hill. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think it was the Hat Man. It could have been because a lot of people fucking see him. Um, and yeah, I don't know, but shadow people though. Have you ever seen shadow people? Because I fucking have.
The scene that's like I haven't actually seen any. I think Crystal said she's seen them, but I haven't. I mean, Hat Man is technically a shadow person, so I guess I could say yes, just in that one instance. But other than that, no.
Well, I saw. I'm just gonna keep it brief. Shadow people is a consistent sighting throughout like people with sleep paralysis and shit. Um, Actually, mostly with sleep paralysis. It's kind of surprising. Um, but I used to see them because at the time that I was seeing them, I was on meth. So I was very delusional. I would have what's the word? Hallucinations. And yeah, I would actively see people. Like one of my biggest memories is I'm playing Borderlands 2 with a friend of mine, Brett, who's also clean like me now, and he also emails the show and messages the show a lot and talks to me personally about the show. So thank you, Brett, for listening. Um, but yeah, we were playing Borderlands 3 in our game room at the time, and not out of the corner of my eye, it was closer. It was definitely like someone either sitting next to us or like sitting, kind of like if we have a couch directly in front of the TV. It was like someone was sitting in between that point on the right side of me. And it was, I don't know what it is with me and seeing like sitting figures, but that like disturbs the shit out of me. And by the way, if you have done meth or if you know people that do meth, after a while we get hallucinations because we don't sleep. So at this point, I hadn't slept for a week, and so it gets a little bit more tricky because like at that point you're hallucinating, so you're like, it's fine. I'm just playing a video game. I'm just seeing shit because I haven't slept. But it's whenever these figures start actually interacting with you. Like I had one time I was smoking a cigarette on the porch at the same place where in like the bushes across from the porch, you could see like a shadow person like doing this, like waving at me, like kind of like telling me to come here. And I was like, all right, well, I'm done with this cigarette, you know? But yeah, I don't have a lot of experience outside of under the influence of drugs on shadow people. And the only other way I know about them is through sleep paralysis. So let's move on to like another entity that we were talking about a little bit earlier was called Yuri, or Yurei, which is a Japanese style ghost. Chris, you wanna give it a little bit of a visual because I know you're just as terrified about this shit as I am.
So yeah, if I remember correctly, they're like how you described it earlier, kind of like, almost kind of like what you would basically think of when you think of like a female ghost, like very lanky, long, always almost in like a white dress or a white outfit, and then long black hair. It's usually covering the face. A lot of you will probably be thinking of like The Ring, or like kind of some
The Mother and the
instances of
Grudge.
The Grudge. Yeah, and then like I said, a lot of typical ghost stuff kind of looks like what the Yuri looks like, but fucking creepy though. Like female ones for some reason are scarier. I don't know why, but female ghosts seem scarier to me.
Yeah, I can't fucking stand female ghosts, or like especially little girl ghosts. Like The Ring, um, mom fucked me up with that shit because I walked into the living room and she was watching The Ring, and I was like 6 or 7, and like yeah, I think it was like at that point where they opened the closet and the chick's all like mouth wide agape and she's like, oh.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I saw that part and I'm like, well, fuck my childhood, right? No wonder I fucking ended up doing heroin later on in life, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, The Ring terrified me as a kid.
Yeah, and so that's a constant like Japanese kind of ghost, which is mostly women, or I think it's mostly women. It's mostly depicted as women, like in movies and such. Fucking terrifying. Gave me my fear of ghosts. Another one, which is a new fear, is called the black-eyed children. Fuck,
Yeah, those are
dude.
creepy too.
Oh my god, I heard so many fucking stories about this on another podcast we listened to, and then I looked it up by myself. Oh my god. So basically, the black-eyed children are ghosts that, well, not ghosts actually. They're like, how would you even fucking explain them? Because like no one really has a definitive
Yeah, like
description of them.
people think they could be ghosts, could be aliens, could be demons. So there's really like no particular way to describe them. So they're just some sort of weird entity that shows up to the random people too. And that's the scariest part, is they could just show up to anybody. They don't just appear to like people in distress or people who are out at night by themselves or something. They show up in the middle of the day, they show up at night, they show up just whenever the fuck they feel like it for no particular reason.
Yeah. And I'm going to give credit to another podcast, Scared to Death by Dan Cummins. We like Dan Cummins, just so you know.
Yes.
Because that's how I found out about black-eyed children. But he tells like a couple of stories about black-eyed children, like one, and like how Chris just said, it's they can come up to you whenever. And it's what's terrifying, because like one of them is like a classic story where he's like, it's a man in a farm. There's nothing else fucking around because, he owns a farm. There's nothing supposed to be around. And then some kids knock on his door. Doesn't see anything wrong with him, but he's like, I don't want to let them in, blah, blah, blah. And then they just get more and more aggressive until finally they leave. Another one was, it was a couple going to a restaurant. And this couple were like, I think I think the woman was like trying to be interactive with them, and they were like asking for a ride, essentially. Yeah. And yeah, so they were asking for a ride, and and the guy was just like, no, it's fine. We're gonna go into the restaurant. And then like, of course the same thing. They're getting more and more aggressive, trying to get into the car, trying to get into a house, and it's almost like, it's kind of like that same idea with vampires, like,
Yeah, you have to invite them in.
Yeah, and I think one more was like a man that did let them in, and like his cat ended up dying or some shit, and like he ended up getting sick and like, or getting cancer or something like that. Very loose. If you do want the details, you can always check out Time Suck by Dan Cummins and Scared to Death by Dan Cummins, because he covers black-eyed children in both of them. And I'm not gonna lie, we both get big inspiration from him.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, check him out, fucking 100%. But also keep listening to us, because we don't have enough listeners. We don't have the same amount of listeners as Dan. One more that freaks me out is doppelgangers. What did you think about doppelgangers, bro?
Yeah, like I said, that shit scares me too, especially with the whole mirror situation thing. But I mean, doppelgangers in a real life sense are pretty creepy, because they don't have like any like you don't know what they are type of deal. So the only real movie that I can think of as an example is It Follows.
Oh yes, I was hoping you were gonna fucking say that.
Which, if you haven't seen that, is it's such a unique concept and such a good movie. I love that one.
Well, isn't it supposed to be like a succubus / like incubus or whatever?
Yeah, and see, that's the weird thing. So the premise of the movie is it's basically, you get this curse by somebody who has the curse sleeping with you. So if you sleep with the person who has the curse, you get the curse. And the curse is that this ghost that takes the form of people you know, or people you've seen, or just people at random, and it'll just slowly stalk you until it catches you. And you can run away from it, you can try to hide or whatever, but it always knows where you are, and it's always going to try to find you. It just goes at you very, very fucking slowly. And the only way to get rid of it is to sleep with somebody else and pass it on.
Yeah, but if that person dies, then it comes back to you, so it goes back down the chain.
Yeah. But just the best part of it is just knowing that it takes the form of, somebody. Like I said, it could be somebody you know, it could be somebody who's died, it could be somebody that you haven't seen before. And it'll just fucking slowly walk at you, and that's like the creepiest part. And like I said, that's the best example I know of a doppelganger, just because in the movie it appeared as people who were alive in the movie. So like it didn't necessarily trick anybody into thinking it was that person or anything, but it's just like one of those things where it looks like somebody who's in the movie, and it's kind of creepy that it can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah,
So
I just
you-
like to use that as a basis of what a doppelganger could be like, just some sort of like weird entity that takes on that shape to like either trick you or whatever.
So wait, you think of doppelgangers as people that can just shapeshift into the other forms of other people, not necessarily you, because a doppelganger is supposed to be someone who takes your form.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Is I know the like most common definition of a doppelganger is somebody who looks exactly like you, but I'm thinking about it more in a sense of somebody who can just kind of like shapeshift, because there's some like fairy tale stuff about doppelgangers too, and they're basically in almost every sort of fantasy thing. They're like a shapeshifter. Basically, they just take the form of whoever they want to look like. Like one of the good examples is in The Witcher. There's a creature called a Doppler. Obviously supposed to be a derivative of a doppelganger, and that's basically what it does. Is it just takes the form of the person, but it mimics them down to like their personality and all that stuff. So it can just basically become that person. So yeah, like that's what I know about doppelgangers anyway, and the best examples that I can think of.
Actually, another one that you probably not don't know about is a boggart from the Harry Potter universe. Sorry, but it's weird because it kind of takes on that same shape shifting thing where basically a boggart is the boogeyman itself, and it takes on the form of what you fear the most, kind of like It, from Stephen King's It, or Pennywise. And the only reason I reference a boggart is because I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ron Weasley or Neville Longbottom, but one of them ends up like they fear the most is Professor Snape, Severus Snape, and it takes on the form of Snape, so that's fucking terrifying. But it feeds off of fear itself, and it's it's just one of those things. Like, it's comically induced in the movies and in the books, I think, but like the idea of it itself is fucking terrifying. But yeah, with doppelgangers themselves, like a lot of people have speculations on what would happen if you were to run into your doppelganger. I think the most common one is that you just simply die. But I don't know if you have to touch them or if you have to see them. I don't want to meet my doppelganger because I'm not an intimidating dude, and I don't want to be intimidated by my own self. I already have enough fucking self-esteem issues. Anyway, outside of that, I think the only other one that I want to bring up randomly is like the Skinwalker. The Skinwalker can be an episode all into itself, but with the Skinwalker, this is just local folklore. I used to live in Globe, Arizona. It's right next to an Apache reservation, and I don't know if that's just the Apaches fucking with me. But they would say that the skinwalker, you would know if a skinwalker is next to you or close to you because you would hear clapping, like not like consistent, like, and that is fucking terrifying. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. And apparently, according to some high school and middle school friends, if you were to clap back, not talk shit back, but to clap back. But if you were to clap back to him, then the skinwalker would basically target you or like come after you or something. So it was almost like they're looking for a response, and then as soon as they get that response, then they would come after you, which is pretty fucking cool. I know skinwalker lore goes way deeper than just that, but that's what the Apache natives told me at my school in middle school and high school.
Interesting. Never heard about that one.
Yeah.
The clapping thing, anyway.
So what about paranormal activity itself, like ghosts, poltergeists, even just these beings, the Shadow Man, Hat Man, Yuri, Black-Eyed Children, doppelgangers? Do you think that they exist, or
Like I said, given how I had my own story about ghosts and stuff, I do very much so believe in like the like standard definition of ghosts. Like I think that a soul can linger within our living realm or something to that extent. As far as like shadow people, the Hat Man, Yuri, stuff like that. Like Yuri, that one could be just a typical ghost. But like the shadow people thing, like you were saying, it more so happens to people who have sleep paralysis. My instance with the Hat Man, one of the forms of shadow people happened when I was in a dream state.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, that stuff could just be, your mind playing tricks on you, not so much real. So I don't know how much I believe in a lot of the other stuff, but I do think that, ghosts and stuff are real. At least in some sense.
All right. Well, I actually do believe. And I know this might sound weird just because of my religious beliefs, but I don't think that I don't even necessarily think that they might be ghosts like from the deceased from this world. A lot of references and shit kind of go back to the multiverse theory that we talked about in the 2012 episode, where it's kind of like paranormal activity is kind of like leaks from another universe. And like even like a friend of mine was telling me, and this isn't true, this is just an opinion, but a friend of mine was telling me, an old coworker was telling me that if you see something out of the corner of your eye, it's essentially like meaning that you're seeing something that's not in our world. Because if you see something dead on, then it is in fact in our world, and the further it gets from the center, like your focus, then it may or may not be actually part of our world. And it's like it's just one of those weird beliefs. Like the same thing like deja vu. An ex-girlfriend told me that if you experience deja vu, then that just means that you're on the right path in life or you're fulfilling your destiny. And that still resonates with me today.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes me feel a lot better. And thank you, by the way, person that I'm not going to name because I don't know you like that anymore. But that actually does help me a lot, even still to this day. If I feel deja vu, I feel comfort in it now. So yeah, outside of that, I do think that ghosts could be real. I'm in that state where anything could necessarily be real because science can't solve everything. We don't we don't know everything yet. I mean, theoretically God could exist, theoretically ghosts could exist. We just don't have any way to actually definitively point out that they do or not.
Yep.
So I'm in just kind of that neutral standpoint. I have my own experiences. I'm just skeptical because I was under the influence of several drugs during each of the stories, or each of my experiences. But yeah, let's move on to like what about movies? Like what are some of your favorite movies as far as horror goes, or not horror, like paranormal or ghost stories go?
Yeah, so some of my all-time favorites are Poltergeist, which a lot of people should know. Even though it's an old movie, it's probably one that set like the standard for a lot of them.
Well, still, what's the premise? Like, what happened to make ghosts appear?
Yeah, so that one, it does have an interesting concept of like what ends up making the ghosts appear, and I mean, this will kind of ruin it if you haven't seen it, but it's old. The premise of why the ghosts are appearing is because the house was built on top of an Indian burial ground. So if that's kind of an old used, kind of overused concept nowadays, but back then that was pretty original, and that's where that concept comes from. Maybe not originally from that movie, but that's where a lot of people popular. Oh no, I'm not saying that word again. That's where that concept came from. And yeah, it's a very creepy movie. Like if you can get over outdated special effects and stuff like that, which I can, there are still some pretty cool and pretty creepy scenes.
Yeah, like the clown scene.
Yeah, the clown, and then just like once some of the bigger ghosts start popping out, they're still pretty creepy to look at.
Was it Poltergeist where he's like, "This house is clear"?
Yeah, I think it's a girl in the movie that says it though, but
Yeah. It just resonates with me because of fucking Jim Carrey.
This house is clear.
What about The Haunting Connecticut? I actually don't remember that movie. I remember the poster for it, and it still fucking terrifies me.
Yeah. Yeah, we mentioned that one earlier too. Haunting in Connecticut is actually a pretty good movie. Yeah, I don't think it has a lot of like factual stuff in it too much. I think it's mostly fiction, but it's still pretty interesting.
Wasn't that the one with Ryan Reynolds?
No.
Or was that Amityville?
Yeah, Amityville, which I like that one too.
Okay.
I've seen the old one and I've seen the new one. They're both okay. Like, I don't know. I think I would just tell you to go ahead and watch the 2005 one because it's at least a little more entertaining to watch updated stuff with an updated actor. But yeah, Haunting in Connecticut is, I don't know, it's really hard to, I can't remember everything about it. The kid in it, like,
it goes back and forth.
Issues.
Yeah, it goes back and forth between like what happened way back in the day and what's happening like currently or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he ends up just like, there's some kid, he's already got issues and stuff, but he ends up getting like haunted by an entity, and then like, yeah, it's kind of showing what happened back then to make all the hauntings happen. Basically just ends up turning out that the house was like used for all these weird experiments and shit like that. So
yeah, and if you guys don't remember the poster, it's the one with the like teenage boy with like black sludge like coming out of his mouth, like coming out like raising up into the air, and it's a fucking terrifying visual. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, what was it? What was that fucking show where the cat gets like stuffs itself down the dude's throat?
Oh, crap. What is that called? Shit, I can't remember now. It's an old show. Tales
from the Dark Side. Yeah. Yeah. It's dude. Fuck that noise, bro. Anything coming out of someone's throat or going into someone, like Evil Dead, like with the branches, especially the new one where it's like the thorny, like black sludge branches going in. Basically, it goes inside the vagina of a woman, and it's fucking. I think one of the apex examples of ghosts to this day, just so you know, if you haven't seen this movie, fuck you, like legit, fuck you. Like, I don't even understand. Not Haunting in Connecticut, but if you haven't seen this next movie, legit, fuck you. Go watch it, and then you can come back and watch the show or listen to the show.
And then unfuck you.
Yeah, then
then you've earned your unfucking.
Yeah, then we will retract the fucking. Redact it, whatever. But that is Ghostbusters, because Ghostbusters is so fucking mint. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know why it still holds up to this day. Any new. Dude, I'm so fucking excited to watch the new one. Not the one with the women.
Not that one.
not that I have anything about like Melissa McCarthy or anything. I just thought that movie itself was shit. But the new one
for good reasons, because it was dumb.
Yeah. The director of the original Ghostbusters' son is making a new Ghostbusters. So I feel like it's very what's the word? Appropriate. Kind of like handing it down. What the fuck? A legacy. Handing the legacy down.
Yeah.
But the original Ghostbusters stars Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. And that's the only people I know in that movie that I can remember.
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis. What's the black dude's name?
Yeah, I can't remember the black guy's name now. Damn it.
Ah, shit.
I feel bad for not knowing.
I don't know. It's just one of those movies. Like, it's funny. It actually is kind of scary. And it's just one of those movies where it still resonates with me. Like, I wasn't even. Winston Zeddemore. That's what his name was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies that resonates with me, just because like the last scene with the I almost say the Michelin Man. I forgot what the fuck his name is.
The marshmallow thing.
Yeah, the marshmallow man or whatever. It's just like, it's silly, but it's also scary, and it's like, I remember being scared of like the Slimer and shit.
Well, it does have another creepy part too, the like library ghost.
Oh yeah, fuck that
part,
bro.
Dude. That part used to terrify me.
Yeah, and they do such a good job of like making it fucking terrifying. But yeah, so like whenever it comes out, the new one, it has like Paul Rudd. It has one of those kids from Stranger Things in it. I can't remember. He's like the lead. Or no, was it Stranger Things or It?
He's in both.
He's in both?
Yeah. I think so.
He's Eleven's love interest, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
okay.
He's in both of them.
Sorry, spoilers. But watch Stranger Things. If you haven't watched Stranger Things, fuck you as well. Another one, of course, Amityville Horror. That one has Ryan Reynolds. That one, I actually don't remember that well. I remember it being fucking terrifying. The Grudge, of course. I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk on the Amityville Horror if I don't remember it, but just watch the Amityville Horror. I want to watch it again, so we'll get back to you if we watch it. The Grudge, of course, fucking still haunts me to this day. Similar experience with The Ring. I walked in on my mom watching The Grudge. And yeah, I don't know why she was watching it, because mom doesn't really watch horror movies that often. But I remember her watching it by herself, and The Grudge has that famous sound that
Yep.
And I think it's the boy that makes that sound, and the hand coming out of the back of the girl's hair.
Yep.
Oh, fucking, what's that one scene? I think it was in The Grudge 2, actually, where I think it's the bitch that's doing her fucking sheets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know what part you're talking about. Fucking terrified me to no end, but yeah, if I remember correctly, that's in the second one.
Yeah, so basically the scene is in The Grudge 2, I believe. She's doing her, either a dude or a chick, I can't remember. I think it's a chick.
She's getting into bed, actually. She's getting into bed, and she decides to hide under the covers.
Oh, yeah, so I just, no, I remember she's setting the bed, like she's putting the sheet, and it shows her. Like, I don't know, she gets into the bed. But yeah, it shows the mother, or whatever, from The Grudge, like her face, and then the sheets drop, and then she gets into bed. Something happens where she hides under the sheets, and then she gets literally pulled under the sheets, and then the sheets just fall on the bed,
like flatten out, and yeah, basically you can tell she got like sucked into the netherworld.
Yeah, and fuck that, bro. The Conjuring is another one. Very popular nowadays. I'm not gonna give too much shit to it, because of course, it's popular for a reason. The first one I liked. I didn't really like Annabelle or anything like that. Like I said, it's kind of like Paranormal Activity universe. The longer they run with it, the less scary it goes, because they kind of just use the same tricks and traits and shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Another one is Beetlejuice.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Beetlejuice, fuck you.
Go watch it. You'll earn your unfucking.
Yeah. Beetlejuice stars probably the hottest woman of all fucking time, and I can't remember her goddamn name.
Second to Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, second to Anne Hathaway. Shit, let me see. Yeah,
Meryl Streep. I'm just kidding.
Meryl Streep. I almost fucking. Fuck. What's her goddamn name? It has Winona Ryder. She's not hot, but no, I love Winona Ryder. Michael Keaton, who plays Beetlejuice.
Are you talking about the other girl that's in it?
Yeah, Gina Davis. That's what her name is.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. She doesn't look good now, but goddamn.
Yeah, it was like back in the day she was hot, but Winona Ryder's still pretty good looking.
She was the same one in Stuart Little.
And The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, and The Long Kiss Goodnight. Motherfucker. Yeah, that movie. Yeah, so Beetlejuice, check that out. Basically, a couple dies, and then I think they die from like a car accident or something, and then they come back in the house, and they have to convince Winona Ryder, who's like this gothic chick, to summon Beetlejuice to try to bring them back to life, or like do something.
The exact plot line, but yeah, something like that.
Another one, which stars Chris's favorite actor, John Cusack, 1408.
Yeah, not necessarily because he's in it, but it's just actually a pretty good movie, and especially one for like weird haunted rooms.
Yeah, and he actually does really fucking well in that movie.
Yeah, and I will give him credit that he's good in that one because he shows some emotion for once.
1408 basically is a specific room in a specific hotel that is super fucking haunted, and like I think it's like there's no actual traceable origin back into that room, and it's based off a real room if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, but he essentially like it traces back to people committing suicide consistently in that room, and kind of like how poltergeist, the definition is the negative energy that resides in that room creates, you know, consistent differences, and especially in 1408, where it changes the room into a tundra, like it legit changes the room into a fucking a wasteland tundra. There was something in the vents. He can't escape from the vents. It's like a mummy kind of thing in the vents. It's fucking crazy. He can't. He tries to go, like even I think he tries to commit suicide outside the window. Actually, doesn't he?
No, that's what it wants him to do, but he was like trying to drop something to get the attention of the people on the street, and it just like flat out disappears as he drops it.
Oh, right. And then even towards the end of the movie, which spoilers, basically it hints towards that he gets out, but it's doing some grave encounter shit, which I'm going to talk about next. And basically he never got out. It just simulated a world for him. So it kind of hints towards the fact that maybe he just fucking went insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, the next one is of course Grave Encounters, which I fucking love this movie. I don't know about Chris, but I love this movie so fucking much.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good B movie for like the horror genre, which I mean, there's a lot of those, but this is a decent one.
Yeah, the second one starts getting to the point where it gets a little bit weirder, but
Yeah.
The second one has the problem of bringing logic into it, because the first one it's an insane asylum where basically there's a shit ton of ghosts in there, but and you know it brings in a lot of physical manifestations of those ghosts. But with the asylum itself, it can change its it can change basically its entrances, exits, and where the rooms are. It basically changes its whole geography. Is that what I want to say?
I don't know. Its whole layout.
Yeah, its whole layout. So, yeah, like I think the second one it brings some logic to it, where a character from the first one actually figured out like it basically has a schedule of when it changes its layout, and in the second one it has like one of the most memorable scenes for me where they actually get out of the asylum, get back to their hotel, get into an elevator, and then the elevator opens and they're back in the fucking asylum again.
Yeah.
And dude, that scene was so fucking good, bro. Like whenever I first saw it, I was like, no shit. All right, so I'm gonna take a sip, Chris. If you want to keep going with a couple of other movies, if you remember them.
Yeah, one from way back in the childhood days. I think this actually came out like around the time I was born, maybe. Casper. He's not so popular now, but he was pretty big back then. And that's a pretty good movie. I can't remember it like really well, but I used to watch it all the time when I was little. Again, another one with like maybe some few creepy parts, but for the most part, it's a child's movie, so it's got like cutesy stuff.
It has Bill Pullman and Christina Ricci.
Yeah. And yeah, I would imagine it still holds up pretty well, other than maybe the CGI.
It's funny too. It legit. I mean, it stems from an old cartoon, but like the movie with Bill Pullman and Christina Ricci is actually genuinely fucking funny and scary, and they even reference Ghostbusters too, I think.
Yeah, they do. They have the little joke with Dan Aykroyd. But the last movie that I want to talk about, which is a really good one, popular. I'm not even gonna. Why do I keep trying to say that word? Why do I even keep trying? But it made the whole twist ending thing kind of like a big deal. It's called The Sixth Sense. I'm sure you've heard of it, with Bruce Willis and I forget what the kid's name is. Something Osment. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, I won't ruin the twist, because if you haven't seen the movie, then the twist is really good. But basically, it's just the movie is about a kid who can see dead people, and this detective or something is like trying to help him out with stuff. So, like I said, I won't ruin too much about it. If you haven't seen that one, go ahead and go watch that one. It's pretty good.
That one's the one that made the line "I see dead people" famous.
Yeah.
Let's do one more and let's move on to some games. The Ring. I mentioned it before. The Ring. Fuck, dude. I hate this goddamn movie. Basically, it has a character named I can't remember the original actors. It has not the main character, but the character of the ghost girl is Samara. I don't know why I remember that, but it fucking stuck with me. But essentially, it's if you watch a VHS tape, where if you watch that tape, you have 7 days to live, and then at the end of that 7 days, you will die by this ghost of Samara. And it's the tape shows images of like the well that she's drowned in, a ring, it kind of looks like burned into film, which is the symbol for it, like burned into like original real film. A lot of different shit. I think like it's like even like deer rotting and random bullshit. I don't remember a lot of the details of what happened in the movie. I don't want to fucking watch that movie again. Because, one, I don't want to remember what happened within it, and I also don't want to relive it. And I don't want to ruin the idea of it. As far as games go, just do a quick one for the games. If you ever want to play any games that have a lot of paranormal shit going on within it, you can always play Outlast. Outlast is a really good fucking game. It gets paranormal towards the middle of it. I don't want to ruin it, but essentially you are a journalist that goes into an asylum, basically trying to bring up the trying to out this company called the Murkoff Corporation that's doing illegal experiments. And then it gets paranormal towards the middle. Outlast 2, by the way, I just played it, Chris. I didn't tell you that, but Outlast 2 is fucking amazing. And it does
I've been
link.
Thinking about trying it again.
It does link with the first one. It just doesn't link as obviously. But yeah, Outlast 2 is just as good. It gets more biblical, but it does link with the first one, which is basically just like science and shit like that. Another one is Fear, which is an acronym that I don't fucking remember. But Fear is really good. I remember the first one I played was Fear 2. I think the same with Chris.
Yeah, I believe I played the second and third one. I don't know if I ever played the first one, but they creep me the fuck out. So I want you guys to experience that too. They're older games, but if they held up like I think they will, then they're still fucking creepy as shit.
Yeah, Fear gets really into it. I remember playing the beginning over and over again because the beginning tells you like almost like it scares the shit out of you right from the beginning because you walk into like the kitchen or whatever. And then there's this ghost girl that's just standing there, and then later in the twist of it or whatever is basically that that girl, which is originally from the first one, is now a woman, and she's just retaining her like girl form or whatever, and it gets a lot creepier. Like I said, I played the beginning of the game over and over again because they basically show the little ghost girl a lot, and I like just saying that. Another one, of course, is Silent Hill. Silent Hill is basically you go to, and by the way, I'm so sorry, I actually never played Silent Hill, but essentially you go to this place, I think it was like a man looking for his daughter. I am not 100% sure. If you guys know, please email me. I do intend on playing it eventually. But basically it's almost like multi-dimensional. As soon as you get to Silent Hill, the world itself changes for you. And I think it's actively kind of like it and a boggart from Harry Potter. It gives you like your worst fears. And of course, if you want to read a book, there's plenty of scary stories out there. Of course, check out Stephen King, Dean Koontz. But one that resonates with me and Chris as well is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which they just made a movie with Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo, whatever. And fuck, I think the scariest one was the Where's My Big Toe one.
Yeah.
I don't know why that one resonated with me so well, but that one fucked me up. And one where it's like they keep getting phone calls, and he's like, "Oh, I'm closer, I'm getting closer," and then like they ended up calling the cops because he called them again, or it's like a babysitter and the kid or whatever. He's like, I'm in the attic, I'm gonna fucking kill you or some shit. And yeah, then they end up calling the cops, and there's no one there.
Oh.
But yeah, check out Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I believe there's 3 volumes of it. And yeah, those are perfect campfire stories, perfect short stories to just get you in the mind of that creepy headspace.
Yeah, it used to give me the chills as a kid, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're about out of time. This actually ran longer than I thought it would. So Chris, if you want to go ahead and ribbity wrap this up.
Yeah, guys. So if you would be so kind as to leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on, that would be fantastic. If you can't, then if you could at least tell your friends and family about the show, that would help us out a bunch. Let them know we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. So there's literally no excuse not to fucking listen.
Also, if you'd like to support the show, you can always buy merch, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, at represent.com/store/Tipplers 2 cents. Again, that's represent.com/store/Tipplers 2 cents. Or you can just follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and the link is listed as our website. If you guys would like to tell us about your own personal ghost story, then please email us at tipplers2centspodcast@gmail.com. Or message us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Tipplers 2 cents, about any inconsistencies, stories from previous episodes, any updates or anything like that. You can always email us or message us.
Yeah, anyway, that's all for today, guys. We'll haunt you on the very next episode of Tipplers 2 Cents. Cowabunga.
Bye!